Welcome to Caught Offside, a transfer exchange show production. I'm your host, Kieran Stewart, and we've got an absolutely banging show for you tonight. First of all, on my right is Andy Hunter, the Merseyside football correspondent of The Guardian and The Observer. How you doing, Andy?
Oh, good. Thank you, Kieran.
And down in the bottom is former Newcastle and Liverpool left back. It's Jose Enrique. How you doing, Jose?
Very good, guys. Very good. And you, mate? Good?
I'm good. I'm looking forward to this show.
Yeah, me too, mate. Me too.
All right. Andy, I'm going to get straight to it, yeah?
Okay.
Who are Liverpool's main summer targets this year?
I'd say midfield would be the one area that they'd probably prioritise. The thing is, you look at that team now, going strong on four fronts. It's like, where are the obvious departments that they need to strengthen? There aren't many. But I think of any, I would say midfield, and I think the one that keeps getting mentioned and the one that I think makes sense in every aspect, age, character, quality, would be Jude Bellingham. For me, I think he's the one that stands out. I think one thing about him as well, apart from his obvious talent, which you see now he seems to be improving as well every week with Dortmund, but he comes across as a good, strong character as well. And I think that's something that Klopp is big on. He takes, if you look at the Liverpool dressing room, it's a good dressing room there. There's a lot of good characters, or strong characters. They get on well together. There's seems to be no issues, no dramas, or unnecessary dramas, shall we say. And I think that's to do with the type of character that Klopp likes to buy. And I would see like Jude Bellingham as that fit. He seems to be, a good sort and a brilliant player, and one who I think would enhance the Liverpool midfield.
Yeah, definitely. As you said, he's got great temperament, great character, and most importantly, he's a quality footballer, so composed at such a young age. Jose, what do you think Liverpool need to sort of close that gap on Manchester City?
Well, I wanted to ask you, because I was listening to Andy. It has to be realistic signings or what I want for Liverpool. What it has to be, because I don't think there's any chance that we sign Bellingham, in my opinion.
Really?
I will be wrong. I don't think so. I don't think with this owner is obviously, listen, I agree with Andy. It will be a massive signing for us. I really believe so. But the kind of money that Dortmund is going to ask for, I don't think Liverpool is going to pay this kind of money. I don't think these owners, they've never done really. The only time that we've done this is with Van Dijk and Alisson, and because we saw Coutinho. So I don't think Bellingham is an option. Actually, the more realistic one is the one that they were talking in January, the guy from Fulham, the midfield, the young guy as well. I think that's the real one. But that's the one that's going to happen, I believe. But I'm with Andy that I will want Bellingham in the midfield, 100%. But I don't think it's going to happen now. And then I believe the front three more or less are sorted. The only problem we have a little bit maybe is with Mo Salah's position. I don't think we have anyone really. Harvey can play there, it's true. But I'm liking him a lot as one of the midfielders, on the right side, the three. So I'm not sure if he will actually play there. But he actually played there last season or the season before the Championship, and he does really well. So not sure about that. That is something but definitely a position that I think we need to improve. The midfield, obviously, and right back, we need someone to push a little bit more for Trent. I think definitely these two positions are key. I think on the left side, we have Robo and Tsimikas. I think they are, obviously, Robo for me is in another level, but Tsimikas is really pushing.
He's quality. He's done very well. He's done very well when he comes in.
Exactly. But look at his first season, obviously, he didn't even play at the Premier League, really. Robertson. And on the right side, we need someone to push Trent a little bit. I think all he does is improve players. When you have someone behind you that, he can take your spot, even knowing that Trent, when he's at his level, probably no one can take his spot in the world, really. But it's good that someone pushes you. Like, look at Mane now as well, because no Luis Diaz is there. I think we need a little bit more competition in this, because Joe Gomez is more a centre back than a right back.
Yeah. No, I fully agree. Andy, how do Liverpool find that balance with bringing in someone who's going to add some competition for Trent, but he's going to have to play kind of second fiddle when he comes into Liverpool?
Well, I think Liverpool is such an appeal now that it's not a bad place to be if you are having to be patient. You're in one of the best teams in the world. You're playing for one of the best managers in the world. You're competing this season on all fronts. You will get your games. You're not going to replace a world-class talent like Trent Alexander-Arnold, but you will get your opportunities. I think just on that, as for the Carvajal of Fulham, I think it's interesting that Liverpool have let Nico Williams go there. Keep relations smooth between the two clubs. The deal was in place in January, just couldn't get it over the line. So, there's no reason to think that can't be resurrected. But I think one thing about Klopp as well is he's always conscious of leaving the pathway open for any young player that he sees coming through. He did it with Trent Alexander-Arnold. He could have bought a right back at that time, but he knew that there was a top talent coming through in the academy, so he didn't buy one to keep the path open. So, look at Liverpool now. They've got Conor Bradley there, Northern Ireland international. He's had a couple of bites this season. So, Klopp will be conscious of whether does he think he can make it, and if he does think he's good enough to challenge Trent, then maybe he'll keep that path clear for him. But yeah, I think, as I say, that's always something that Klopp is conscious of, is making sure that people in the academy know there's a chance that they can make it at Liverpool.
Yeah, very, very, very true. Otherwise, you'll end up you'll stem the flow of that at the start as well. If you don't bring through talent and they don't see that there's an end game by actually playing for the first team. Jose mentioned Joe Gomez, a player who's just coming back from injury, but Matip's sort of winning his place back now. They've also brought in Ibrahima Konate. Is there still a place for Joe Gomez, especially with the talent that he is trying to get into that England team again?
You asking me or Andy?
I'll ask you. I'll ask you first, Joe. Jose.
Don't worry, mate. Don't worry. So, for me, to be honest, I don't know. Obviously, I know Joe has been injured, but I don't really know obviously, I know Joe very, very well. I was with him there when they signed him. So obviously I know how good player he is and how actually very, very nice guy is to have in the dressing room. So I'm sure Klopp is not someone that he wants just to, okay, let's sell him and buy someone else, because at the end you need four players, in that position. It's 2 and 2, So obviously he's the first option at the moment. That's the reality. And I believe obviously he knows that as well. He will want to play more. That's true. But like Andy said, at the end, it's true as well. It's a privilege to be a Liverpool player at the moment. Actually, Klopp make an interview not long ago, and he say, "Listen, it's more bad things in the world than to be a one of the squad players for LFC." And is the reality. You're playing for me, obviously the best club in the cup, but for people in general, one of the best clubs in the world, and it's very, very difficult to make it. Now you can't compare the Liverpool that is now with the Liverpool that it was when I was there. That's the reality. Even if we nearly won the league, now you're talking about a team that is fighting for everything, apart from last season, because they were unlucky with the injuries. Apart from last season, it's every single season you put them out there to fight for everything with Manchester City, Premier League, now the Cups as well. The Champions League is always a contender as well. So you're talking about one of the best sides in the world, and like Andy say, any player really, because the owners, they have a strategy and they don't want to spend the way maybe other clubs like City, United, or other clubs like this, they do spend. But the reality, we can attract anyone. Liverpool can attract any player in the world at the moment. You go for Mbappe, Haaland, anyone will be very proud and happy, that Liverpool is interested on him right now. So that's why for Joe, I don't see at the moment going anywhere, or at least if I was him, it's not something that I would look for. I will try to push to get my place back. And the reality is Konate's improved everyone there as well. He's improved Matip a lot as well, even if Matip for me has always been world class. You can see this year is actually a step his game.
Yes.
He's getting injury as well. Maybe that's obviously lucky as well. But I don't know. It's a step. Like I said, you need competition in every position. At Manchester City, centre backs is one team that we compete with. You have Laporte that they spend 50 or 60 million. You have Nathan Ake, 40 millions as well. You have Ruben Diaz that I spent as well another 50, 60. Stones as well. So that's what you need in a top team. Big players. So I really believe, I don't know what's going on with Joe, that's the reality, but definitely, obviously, Konate and Matip are doing really well. But we have to remember how good he was before he got injured. He was amazing for us. He was in the starting lineup with Van Dijk. Him and Van Dijk was the two.
Yeah, very true. Andy, how does Klopp keep them all happy? Because as Jose said, you've got you've got two potentially world-class centre-backs there, and you've got two world-class centre-backs there already.
I think they all know they're going to get a chance at some point as well. One thing about Gomez as well, of the four, he's the only one who could, if needs be, play it right back as well, or would be most comfortable there. Sorry. So there's another option for him as well. I think, the spirit in that squad keeps people happy. Being able to compete at the top end of the Premier League and go for the Champions League, win the Carabao Cup, he makes everyone feel part of it. I mean, he said, about the Carabao Cup, Klopp, that one of the most painful things about it was having to leave out some of the kids who had got them through the early rounds, like Tyler Morton, Bradley. There was a few others as well who didn't make the cup final squad. But I think just the spirit in that group and playing for Klopp and Klopp's man management. I mean, he's the best there is around at that side of things. He keeps people happy. He makes people feel a part of the team. Everybody has to be ready. And I think we've seen this. Liverpool wouldn't be competing on four fronts now if the players who were on the fringes hadn't stepped up and delivered when they get a chance. In the past, not in the recent past as well, when they had a chance in the Carabao Cup or the FA Cup, they haven't taken it, and Liverpool have gone out in the early rounds. Now they're going for these cups because people come in and they deliver. Like Minamino being a classic example.
Yeah, he's been quality, hasn't he? Especially for a player who's probably going to be a squad player. Went to Southampton, you could see the quality that he had there. Since he's come back to Liverpool, he's pushing all the way. You've seen Liverpool slowly start to transition in bringing in the likes of Diaz and Jota. How do you think they move away from what is probably been one of the best front three in world football in the last 5 years at least, Jose? How do you think they slowly integrate new players into that?
I think, to be honest with you, I think they should have been even before in the team because, like I said before, you need competition. But like you said, we've been talking one of the best front threes in the world for a while. Firmino, Salah, and Mane, both the three of them, they were incredible. In one point, obviously, everyone was talking about maybe Firmino because he's not doing as many goals, but what he's done, for the club, bringing that false number 9, that the only one who could bring this false number 9 like this that I remember, and obviously that's in different world for me, that it was Messi at Barcelona as a number 9. That no one expected, and he's brought that role back into Liverpool. Obviously with Jota we play different, but when Firmino is playing in that side, it's just incredible. He was one more player defending at the same time as well. As a number 10, as a number 9, he has a lot more freedom for Salah and Mane. So obviously bringing Diaz and Jota is just bring more competition for them. But you have to realize as well, obviously, that they're getting older, even if for me they are in the best age of a footballer at the moment. That's the reality, because footballers now with 29, 30 years old is not the footballers that he was 20 years old with 29, 30. Now 28, 29, 30 years old is the best age of a footballer. But obviously, this kind of competition is needed. If you want to compete, like Andy said before, now Liverpool competes for every competition. And if you want to compete for every competition, you need a big squad with big players. And I'm sure everyone feels part of it. I know how difficult it is to manage a dressing room. Obviously, I've never been a manager, but I've been a player. And I know it's impossible to be happy everyone because everyone wants to play all the time. That's the reality. Even if you are winning stuff, I know because I talked to some of the players. Not now, maybe as much because it's not as many, but at the start with Klopp, when they start winning, obviously Dejan was there, Alberto was there, so I know some things from inside as well. And I know it's not difficult. At the end, it's people, and yeah, you're winning stuff, but at the end, you want to play. You know, that's the reality. But how Klopp managed that, like Andy said, is probably the best in the world on that. So it's just incredible, and we just need to keep bringing quality and competition for every position, because that's the way it is, and that's why it's the first season since Klopp arrived that, in my opinion, we are in the front to fight for all the fourth competitions, really, because before we used to give up really in the cups, and now you don't. Why? Because you have a strong enough squad to don't. You know what I mean? And before you try to rest the players and go for the Champions League or the Premier League, rather to go for the cups, when I believe in that time maybe was the right decision, because we didn't have a strong squad. But listen, a title is a title, and when we won the Carabao Cup, I was there actually as well. I was in London, and I don't know how you do it as a fan, because actually I remember being in the final of Madrid, you know, but the atmosphere is different in the Champions League, because obviously it's a lot of marketing people, you know, invited by the web.
A lot of corporate.
Here is proper lot of half and half fans, you know, half Liverpool, half Chelsea. And in the penalties, I was feeling like, I don't know, I'm actually stupid now as a fan now when I was on the pitch there playing, you know, like it was crazy on the penalties. I was like, fucking hell, please. One player, one penalty, stop one, please. You know, like it was great. So it's nice to compete for everything. It's nice to compete.
Yeah, no, very, very true. High standards, and Klopp is definitely keeping that. Andy, Arsenal fans globally would have been shuddering recently when they saw in the papers that Klopp was waxing lyrical about Bukayo Saka. Is there any legs to that? Should Arsenal fans be worried out there that Klopp's going to work his magic as he's trying to do already now and try and steal one of their best assets?
I'm not sure about that one. Who knows what's going to happen with Mo Salah? That's the key to a lot of things at Liverpool.
What do you think is going to happen if they don't renew him? Because if they don't renew the contract, I think the owners, they're gone. You know, they're gone. The fans, they're gonna don't want them at the club anymore, I think.
Yeah. So I think
Pitchforks and lanterns coming out.
I think he renews. To be honest, I think the only way I would see something like Saka happen if you know there was a knock-on effect of something seismic like Mo Salah going or something like that, but I don't see that. I don't see it.
You see him sorting out that contract then?
I do, yeah. I think they've been playing hardball for quite a while now, but I mean, where does he go? Where if Salah, where does he go? PSG.
It's going to be a seismic fee.
I mean, with PSG, I think to be honest, I think that's a step down in the league.
I'm sure he has places to go. You know, that's not the problem. The problem
but I think you got to think who can realistically get Mo Salah right now. You're talking PSG, Real Madrid, Barcelona. I mean, he's not going anywhere in England.
Barcelona.
Well, they've just got that loan out, haven't they? With Daniel Ek and Spotify Stadium. That they've got putting money aside for Haaland, so they're going for Haaland. They can afford Haaland.
They seem to be hoovering up everybody who's on a free transfer this summer. And I don't think Mo Salah is going to be on a free transfer.
No, definitely not. Sure, you're right. Where's he going to go? I think Real Madrid they're sniffing around Mbappe as well. So I'm sure Liverpool have tried to play that card with Mo Salah, but still.
No, but what you have to realize is, Mbappe is there, but obviously Mbappe can play as a striker. Yeah, Benzema already can play on the left side. He can play on the right as well, I presume. Yeah, but obviously he's a right-footed, so he's more in the position of Vinicius Junior or Benzema, maybe playing more because obviously he's getting older. But a left-footed playing on the right side, Barcelona is missing one, but Real Madrid is missing one as well. So I think they can be it can be an option. Economy-wise, obviously, then I don't know, because like Andy say, with Barcelona, we don't really know, because it's true that they give a loan now to Barcelona, and the reality is, I don't know what's going on in these clubs, or if it's lies or not, but you don't renew Messi's contract, but then you go and pay £50 million for Ferran Torres plus the contract. So things that doesn't really make sense to me, in my opinion, very, very messed up. But in my opinion, where Salah goes, that's what I have to. If I was Mo Salah, I would ask myself this, where I'm going to go, when here I'm a legend, probably if he keep playing for LFC, he maybe come back as the best player ever played for LFC. If he keep, obviously, if he's still in Liverpool and still making numbers. He's loved as crazy, he's loved so much. So, like Andy said, I think both sides, they've been playing really hard. And I think they just will need to sit down and say, listen, let's sort this out. Let's sort this out. I don't want to be, as a player, maybe Salah say, okay, maybe it's not my way, but it's not your way either. So let's try to get something in the middle. And I think it will be the right choice for both sides, because even if Real Madrid or Barcelona are there, go there differently, adapt to it, different kind of fans. I'm telling you, Spain is not England in terms of fans. The love that has Premier League.
Yeah, they're ruthless.
Yeah, you can compare. And the love that he has in LFC, you can see he enjoy playing for LFC so much. So if you are happy, really, even at this kind of numbers, we're talking out here, they give you, to say a number, I don't know, I have no idea about the contract, so don't get me wrong with this, But for example, they give you 10 million in Liverpool, and Barcelona give you 12. For 2 million, really, you're going to change your life, your family's life, how much love you are in the club for everything. When in these kind of numbers, obviously, if you are in 2 million and they give you 4, they say, okay, it's double, Okay,
Yeah.
But 10 to 12, for example, to put an example, is going to make any difference in his life, really. When he's there, he's loved, he's happy. Don't know.
Yeah.
I don't see it happening.
Many people have made that mistake before. Go on, Andy.
Sorry, I mean, with Salah, this one to me doesn't look like, maybe ones in the past like Suarez or something, where you see that they've had a clear career path or in their minds what they want to do, or the head's being turned or something like that at some point. But I don't see that with Salah. I think it is a question of pay me what I'm worth and I'll stay.
Yeah, true. Yeah. No, I agree. They've got 3 strikers there who are come next season will be in their 30s. It's their peak years, but with the owners, are they going to be looking to sort of try and get some money back on them at some stage? How do they do that? What's the thought process there, do you think, Andy?
I don't think they'll be looking to cash in necessarily on Salah, or I think that maybe is probably one of the issues from their side of things. He's looking for maybe a 4 or 5 year contract on top money, and they thinking, well, he's 30 years old. What's he going to be in 4 or 5 years' time? But as I said, nowadays players can play at that level for until that age, so that's not really an issue. I don't see FSG yet. They're careful with the money. They have a clear strategy what to do, but I don't think they necessarily look to cash in on assets unless Klopp gives it the say so, and without his say so, no chance.
All right, it's ruling the roost. That's what you want. So, Jose, you worked with Jurgen Klopp, and a lot's been said about his man management. Can you tell us a little bit about how, when he first came into the club, and what his first your initial thoughts on him were?
Obviously, when he came into the club, I wasn't in a good place personal wise, because obviously my knee, and I couldn't play under him. But I have enough experience, obviously, to be in training with him, to see the method that he used, and I'm happy that I had the chance actually to work for a year with him, even if I didn't have the chance to play so much, because the reality I couldn't, and he was honest with me as well. To be honest with you, that's what I loved the most about Klopp. For me, and the way I like people to work with, and in any aspect, more retired now as well with everything I do. I like people that, and players love that as well. That, okay, tell me the truth, tell me in the face, maybe I don't like it, you know. But tell me the truth. And I had a conversation with him because obviously Alberto was playing. And in one point, obviously now I recognize that I wasn't able to play at the level that I was before because of my knee. But in that time, it's very difficult to recognize that. That's the reality. I recognize to myself that, okay, Jose, you are not the same as you used to be, you know. Maybe you need to think about that. In that moment, you want to just play. And I said to him, I said, listen, with all my respect, actually I went to him quite mad, you know, but no in a mad way, you know, talking to him bad or anything. Just I said, listen, I understand maybe Alberto is in front of me, but I don't really understand what Brad Smith in that time, that was the second option, is playing in front of me. And he said, Jose, listen, I wasn't at the club when you were at your peak here. They told me how would you work for the club. He said, but the reality with your knee, I don't think you can handle my kind of style, you know, my kind of because your knee doesn't handle it. I have to be honest with you. And the reality was. I remember with him, with Brendan, actually, it was okay to do it because I missed it maybe 1 or 2 days a week, and he was happy as soon as I was able to play. But with Klopp, you have to train every day, you know, and you have to highest level because he demands this kind of, you can see the team, how much he press, how much intensity he wants from his players. So obviously you need to train every day. And I wasn't able to train every day because my knee didn't let me. I trained 1 day, 2 days, third day, my knee was swelling or whatever, I need to stop. And I loved it, the honesty that this man put to me as well. He made me captain once for Liverpool, you know, as well. That I will always respect him for that when he knew I was going in a very bad place because it's very difficult to be here, to go here extra. That was my Liverpool career, really. I was there playing every game, you know, doing really well. And all of a sudden, my knee stopped me being a player even, not just for the lesson, a player, you know. So that he came to me with that, honestly, I respect him a lot for that. And I told him that in person as well. I saw him a few times and he knows that. And for me, what he brought into the club, it reminds me a lot like the only person that it really makes me not shake, because I never shake with anyone, but you know when you meet the person that maybe the famous person, for example, I love Will Smith as an actor, or you love someone else and you meet him in person and it's like, oh, is that? No, he was with the only person that happened with me like this in my whole career, it was Stevie G. You know, that have that respect straight away. And I think everyone was the same. I felt exactly the same the first time I met Klopp.
Wow.
When I met Stevie, you know, you could see the aura that he has on him. He's very big guy as well. So it's like you look at him and you go like, wow, this guy means something. And to be honest with you, listen, we can talk about Salah, we can talk about Mane, Firmino, Van Dijk, Alisson. For me, and I would always say this, Klopp is the reason for everything. The players deserve so much credit, but without Klopp being in the wheel, you know, I don't think Liverpool will have done what they've done. 100% now.
Yeah, very, very good. So he's a very approachable manager then. Easy to talk to.
Yeah, definitely. It's a as well, what is interesting, you know, for me, I always say this. And like I said, I'm not a manager. I don't want to be a manager. I never. You know, it's very stressful. You know, I don't want to be a manager. But, you know, the way for me, look at, always listen, they are in a different level. They've been for many, many years, Cristiano and Messi. But then other players of this, look what happened at United right now, for example. And it's not to go and get a pick at United, but how difficult it is to put 11 players together, some players with a lot of quality, and you make them go in the same way, all of them. You see Salah running as much as Henry in the games. You see Mane exactly the same. You see Diaz, you see Jota, Firmino. For me, getting starts, you know, like this, that they know they have the ability to score goals whenever they want. Running that match and running forward in that match, I don't see anyone doing that apart from maybe Pep at Manchester City is the closest, both of them, really. But apart from these two, look at PSG, they don't run like this. Neymar doesn't run like this. Mbappe doesn't run like this. You know, the only manager who actually managed to do this is Klopp, and Guardiola there as well with City. So, like I said, it's a lot of credit to this man and what he's done at the club. And seriously, people is talking about maybe Stevie G coming into the club. I think he will do great in the future. But I really hope Klopp stay in the club for a very, very long time, I'm telling you.
But you see Stevie G potentially being the successor to Klopp. It's big shoes to fill.
It's a big question. It's a big one. I think Klopp. Hopefully, listen. I really hope so because Stevie deserves it. Obviously, it will be incredible. I believe he's becoming a very, very good manager. World class is still obviously a long way for that. Because obviously still managing in Rangers, he did something amazing. Obviously, coming to Aston Villa and he's changed the club completely as well. So I really believe Stevie is going to become world-class manager, 100%. Wow, compare anyone to Klopp at the moment. The only one I can compare is Pep Guardiola. And you're talking, shows the best managers that we've probably seen in the history of football, really.
Yeah, no, I agree. Andy, do you think if Steven Gerrard's to carry on his trajectory as the manager he is now, he'd potentially be able to be a Liverpool manager in the future?
Yeah, I do. And I think he's chosen the clubs he's managed carefully so far.
Yes.
I think each one makes sense at the time. And, if you're going to leave Rangers having just won the league after, stopping Celtic winning 10 in a row, and then is that enough to get you the Liverpool job after Jurgen Klopp? It's not. So he knew he had to go to the Premier League, and he's not going to go automatically into a top Premier League club. So go to one of the big ones that he can develop into a top club. So I think he's chosen well, and I think he's chosen wisely, and I think it is with that career path in mind. But as Jose says, I mean, Klopp's under contract till 2024. He said only last week that, and he kind of volunteered the information, which I found quite interesting, although it was on the back of being asked a question before an FA Cup tie against Norwich about his future. The plan, he says, is still to go to 2024, but it was interesting that he says, I could book it at the last minute, as in, I could sign a new contract, the day before his current one expires. It's all about his energy levels, he says, and does he love the job? And right now, if you're FSG, you'd be trying to sign him up for for life, wouldn't you?
Yeah, definitely. All right, that is all we have time for. Thank you very much for joining us, Andy.
Thanks very much. Enjoyed it. Thank you.
And thank you very much for joining us, Jose.
No, thanks to you guys. Really enjoyed the talk.
All right. Well, make sure you press that like and subscribe button. Make sure you subscribe to KS1 TV and Offside TV. Peace out, people. Stay safe and wash your hands.